This is the heart and soul of rock and roll, KRLA, Pasadena. And this is Yesterday and Today, the show that brings you up to date on some of the great artists you hear on KRLA every day. Our guest for this edition is Del Shannon. So let's join Del and your host, Jim Pewter, in the studio right now.
AM 1110 with Jim Pewter. It's Yesterday and Today. Keep searching. That was Del Shannon, and Del is here today. Right, Del?
That's right.
Yeah.
I am right here with Jim, my buddy.
All right. We've been doing a lot of shows down through the years, and I wanted to showcase your songs here on KRLA because you've been one of our favorite artists down through the years.
Thank you.
And let's take the people back to 1961, your first hit, which you wrote. And you grew up in Michigan, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Michigan, in a little town called Coopersville, Michigan. It's about 20 miles west of Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah. And where were you working at the time this record came out, the hit, the Runaway song?
I was working in a club in Battle Creek, Michigan, where they make cereal. And I wrote Runaway on stage one night. Max Crook, my organ player and piano player at the time, hit a A minor and went to a G, and I just I couldn't believe that change. You know, I was so used to the same old changes in those days of C, A minor, F, and G. And I said, do that again, and he did, and I went boom, 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 boom. And that's how it was born, right on stage. And the next day, at the carpet store, I was selling carpets in the day. I wrote the words to that, and I wrote the song Jody, the B-side, in an afternoon at the carpet shop. Never sold many carpets.
No, but you sold a lot on this record.
Sold a few
Yeah,
records.
let's listen now. Del Shannon on KRLA. His first hit, Runaway.
As I walk along, I wonder. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Hi, this is Jim Pewter. He's here. A man who's been my hero for many years. He's one of the greatest in pop rock music. Roy Orbison. Roy, welcome.
Thank you, Jim.
We're going to get things started with one of your big hits from '64.
Hi, Pewter pals. This is Little Richard, reminding you that you're in tune with the Jim Pewter Show, featuring the oldies but goodies. Oh, my soul.
Here he is, world. Little Richard. Hi, Rich.
Hi, Jim. What's going on?
Hey, it's good to have you here.
Man, I'm glad to be here, too.
Back in action again, huh?
Yeah, it's just that where the action is, that's where I am.
We were over at the Hullabaloo about 2 nights ago, and Rich will be kicking off a worldwide tour. And I said, Rich, come on over to the Armed Forces Radio, and let's talk a bit.
I was glad for that opportunity to get over here, Jim.
Well, it's good to have you aboard. Also, we have Ray Chester, who plays piano and tambourine with the Little Richard Quintet. Hi, Ray.
Yeah.
Good to have you aboard, too.
It's the Ray Chester's Quintet, Jim, and I'm featured. I am the star, and it's his quintet that furnished the music, which so beautifully back us up all over the country, everywhere we go.
Are you still doing the oldie hits?
Yes, we do the oldest hit every place we go. In fact, I enjoy them, I must say, more than I do the latest things that I'm putting out and I hear about other people because like, it was more bombastic than it is today.
Right. Well, you're still as bombastic as you were back in 1956 and 57. Do you want to go back a bit and reminisce?
Oh, I would love to go back.
Well, let's go back to the year around 56 when you recorded a thing called what?
Tutti Frutti.
Hey, let's reminisce.
And you know who stopped by? Mary Wells on a Saturday. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, and you?
Great. You brought along Betty and Jack Miller from the Blues Society. Dave Adelson is here from Cashbox. And your good friend Curtis Womack of the legendary Valentinos. And we're going to be out at the Music Machine, right, Mary?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's tonight.
Tonight.
On West Pico in West Los Angeles. So we want to see your face in the place. You're going to be performing along with the Mighty Flyers. And showtime is around 9, but I suggest you get down there about 8:30. And great to have you here. I wanted to talk about your early days on Motown, and one of your first big hits we're going to play, The One Who Really Loves You. And when you started at Motown, Mary, you weren't a singer in the beginning, were you, basically?
Well, no, I went over there introduce myself as a songwriter. I wrote a song for Jackie Wilson. I thought it would be a great song for him. And I had to sing it for Mr. Gordy, and I didn't have any music or demos, so I had to sing it without any music or whatever. And he asked me if I wanted a record deal, and the only label he had then was Tamla. So I was the first artist on Motown for about 3 years, and I was the first artist on Motown that had a top 10 record, and I kind of opened doors for a lot of people in the pop market, you know, black artists on the label, and I thought that was pretty good. I didn't realize it then. I was just enjoying myself having records and really doing good at what I did, which was singing.
Yeah, and your hometown, of course, it was Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan, yeah.
This was your first big one in '62 we're going to play right now. The First Lady of Motown is here in person. Mary Wells with Jim Pewter on KRLA.
Some other girls are filling your head with jive.
Beach Boys and Fun, 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 10 years ago. Brian Wilson and Jim Pewter, and Brian stopped in and...
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good. Isn't that amazing? That's 10 years old.
I kind of it shocked me. It put a shock up my spine. I couldn't handle that. 10 years ago, and it still feels good. I mean, you know, after all those years,
Yeah.
you know.
We were looking at the Endless Summer album, and Brian just became aware just a few hours ago that the album was doing so well across the country again.
I didn't know.
Huh?
You showed me the chart. You just pulled a chart out and said, look, on the... And I noticed that it hopped on at 84 first week. So, wait a
No,
second.
that's
We're
the
talking
albums.
about number 19 with a bullet now.
Yeah.
So this will be our first really big album in a long time for us.
Yeah. Should we go back
Yeah.
to about 68 and do it again?
All right.
Yeah, on K-Earth with Brian Wilson. Beach Boys.
And of course, Jimmy Page went on to form Led Zeppelin, you know, for the people that
Yes,
are
to say the
listening.
least.
Right. 1965 was a special year for you. Not only did you write, you know, several hits for people, Marianne Faithfull we just heard, Come, and Stay With Me. You had one of your biggest top 10 hits, What the World Needs Now Is Love. And that song was written by Hal David, Burt Bacharach.
Right.
Was that intended for Dionne Warwick?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
absolutely. Dionne had turned it down, and I don't know who else had turned it down. But we were doing a session together, and that was one of the songs that was on the session, and Bert didn't want to play it for me. And Hal, I guess, you know, persuaded him after about 10 minutes to play that song. But once Bert heard me sing it, he really loved it, and people would come running down the hall when we were rehearsing. It was done live. Girls, everything was live. There was no overdubbing, no going back. That was it. You're on, you're on. Everybody. It was really an interesting time.
Jackie D. Shannon, you're on KRLA.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Jim Pewter backstage and looking through the wings. Mr. CB Chuck Berry's on stage doing his immortal duck walk. And I'm here with Mr. Boom Boom, Freddie Cannon. And Freddie, you're a big fan of Chuck Berry's. I know you mentioned him in your act quite a bit.
Most times when I'm doing shows in more recent days now, clubs or concerts or big shows, revivals, reunions such as this, I always seem to, somewhere in this show, when I get to a Chuck Berry song that I do, Jimmy, within my act, I always tag on the end, if you haven't seen Chuck Berry, you haven't lived yet, to most everybody in the audience, because I know that young people haven't really seen him live. They heard of him, they heard the Beatles talk about him, so they think they're in by the Beatles liking him. But going way back to 1956, 57, and 55 when I bought his record, then and now, there's no difference in Chuck Berry. Then he was strong, and now he's doubly strong.
That's so true, Freddie. Thank you. Bill Haley with me again. Bill, this show is so fantastic, and the memories and everyone rocking and rolling tonight with the people outside and backstage here. Must bring back a lot of memories with you, huh?
Well, it sure does, Jim. You just experienced one upstairs a minute ago, and when I bumped into Chuck Berry, and probably didn't understand what went on there, but I said to him, hey, man, what happened to you in Florida? It's quite a funny story. The last time I saw Chuck Berry was in a Howard Johnson restaurant in North Miami Beach. He was doing a big rock festival there, and we were appearing at the Newport Beach Hotel on Miami Beach. It just happened I went in to get something to eat, and I bumped into him. And as always, we're very busy. We talked a few minutes, and he said, "I'll see you in just about 2 minutes. You wait for me here." And the next time I've seen him was just now, and this is about 6 months ago. So that's usually our relationship. But a show like this does give us a chance. I just spoke with Jimmy Clanton, and I haven't seen Jimmy in 10 years. So, but I think we're all going to get together again.
I certainly hope so. It's really great. Thank you.